Sam Fender returns with his brilliant new album, 17 Going Under. Includes the single 17 Going Under, Get You Down, and Spit of You. Sam Fender, 17 Going Under, out now.
Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Hi, this is Jenna.
And this is Kelly.
And you're listening to ODFM.
This episode is One Doobie from Murder.
I couldn't even wait for you to finish. Doobie.
One Doobie!
Oh, God. Awesome.
Doobie, doobie, doo. Yeah, and
Well
actually, this story comes from a friend. It comes from a story from Melinda, the postal worker that I was telling you about.
Yes.
I saw her at the brewery the other day, and she's like, "Oh my God, you got to hear this one story. You got to go research it because it comes from where she grew up, which is Sioux Falls, South Dakota." So,
oh, okay.
Excited about this one, yeah. So I started looking into it, and I was like, "Oh, this is a good story." So thank you, Melinda. This episode needs a trigger warning because there is mention of sexual assault, but it's not detailed. So if it's something that's triggering, feel free to skip this episode, you guys. Otherwise, it kind of just skims over it. So
Okay. We won't go into
no details
on that one. Okay. Good idea.
Yeah. So on the evening of November 17th, 1973, 70s, 5 teenagers from Sioux Falls, South Dakota made plans to meet up for a little get-together. And even though it's mid-November, the weather was fairly mild. So,
wow.
I don't know if global warming was already hitting the stage right down there or what, but they wanted to get out and have a little campfire somewhere where they could be alone and play music like guitar and have some laughs, just around a little bonfire. So of the group of 5, there's 4 boys. They're Roger Essam, who was 17, Mike Hadrith, who was 15, Stuart Beatty, 18, and he went by Stu, and his younger brother, Dana Beatty, who was 14.
Well, they had 14 and 15-year-olds hanging with
50-year-olds.
50.
That would be very weird.
Yeah, 14 and 15. Usually the 18 and 17-year-olds are
right.
like...
They're like, nah, but no, yeah. So before picking up the only girl in the group, who was Sandra Chesky, who was 13.
Whoa.
She had just started dating Roger. I know.
How old was Roger?
He's 17. I know. It's kind of a
dating
big
a 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are her parents?
I don't know if they knew yet, but
okay.
Yeah.
And then she's going to go out in the evening and they're all going to hang out at a bonfire. I mean, this is...
I know, at 13.
This is some red flag situation right here. This is not...
I don't know if her parents knew all those details, that's what she was going to go do. But so she just started dating Roger, and the boys decided to go score some weed.
Yeah.
Between the 4 of them, they came up with $2.
I realize things cost less, but...
Right. I'm not sure how much weed that'll get you back then, but...
Tell me they didn't ask the 13-year-old to pitch in, hoping that she had some babysitting money.
Right. No, luckily they hadn't picked her up yet. So they're like, hey, we're going to do this without the poor little 13-year-old. But
yeah, right.
Yeah. They did actually finally find someone to sell them a single little joint, a doobie, if you will.
For $2.
For $2. They had a tiny little
quality
joint.
Stuff there, I'm sure.
Probably. They're like, yes, we did it. So they go and get Sandra, and they head to Gitche Manitou State Preserve, which is actually just over the border from South Dakota in Iowa, but they're so close, it's only about a 10-mile drive and takes less than 20 minutes.
They took minors over state lines?
They did. I don't think they thought of it that way back then. Who knows? Yeah.
So that just reminds, I know that one time my husband took his younger brother, and they drove over into Canada.
Oh.
Not thinking.
Oh.
Not thinking that he was a minor and that they could have had a problem getting back in.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
It was also
before it was more secure.
Right. It's like, oops.
Yeah, I know. My
gotta think about that shit.
I know my husband used to ride his bike across the border to get ice cream and stuff because he lived on the border of Canada.
That's so crazy. I'm
So
gonna go to the
cool.
next country.
I know. Wouldn't that be cool?
That's so bizarre to me.
I know, but now it's not that easy.
Right. We'll just go this way because it's cheaper. It's Canadian
Yeah.
money, and we'll save
Get
20
some
cents on our
ice
ice cream.
And then we'll bike back. So weird. Yeah. Okay. So they got their doobie. They go and get Sandra. They head to the preserve. It's quiet. It's a wooded area, and they can easily set up a campfire and be alone. Your face looks like you're going to be like, fuck that. No.
Yeah, I am just
Wooded area.
There are red flags just circling me right now. Just I'm like,
Yeah. Little, except it's exactly what I did all the growing up.
oh,
So, because, that's what we would go. We'd go up to the mountains and start a fire somewhere, which sounds scary, but they were campfires, little,
okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
this is
what they're
out of
doing.
my element entirely.
That's what you do when you only have mountains and nothing else.
No, we cruised the Riverwalk looking for dudes.
You actually had dudes, huh? I didn't.
No,
No.
but we looked anyway.
Well, okay. So a little background on these kids. They're all accomplished students with big plans for the future. None of them had ever been in trouble, and they all came from good, loving families. So
All right, so I'm being
not
judgmental.
troublemakers. So
I'm
they're
being judgmental.
good kids. Yeah, and many of them had been friends for years, and they grew up in the same neighborhood.
Okay.
Great kids. They're just out wanting to go do something, not cause any trouble, just stick to themselves. So Sandra had met Roger at the drive-in. Yeah, she
I
did.
missed the drive-in.
I know.
Okay.
But they both claimed that it was love at first sight as soon as they saw each other. So they were connected at the hip once that started. So
I have to question a 17-year-old who looks at a 13-year-old and says it's love at first sight. But anyway,
so maybe she just looked older for her age. She was very
I don't
cute.
know. I mean,
Yeah, so maybe this
All right.
this doobie is their first act of rebellion for all of these kids. It's pretty innocent. It's not a big
got to
deal.
start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's like Melissa and I would always buy cigarillos and go drive around. Cigarillos. Oh, so rebellious. Okay, so because it had taken a while for the boys to find their little tiny doobie weed, the friends didn't get out to the park until about 10:30 that night. I mean, that's pretty late. Yeah, but it's a Saturday
Wait a minute.
night,
They were,
so.
again, at 13. I don't think I was allowed to be out.
I had to
by
be back by
myself.
11. Well, and not
Yeah.
even at 13. You're right. Yeah.
No.
I would have had to be back by 11 when I was 16. So I'd have been like, well, we got here. Now we got to turn around and go back.
Exactly. Oh, that was fun.
Thanks for that drive, I guess. But
Right.
they drove in Stu's beloved 1967 light blue Chevy van. Don't get in the van.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. Just throw some more flags on there. Just throw
Right.
down some more
Every
flags.
flag you can find. But the van was beat up and needed a good paint job, but Stu was so proud of it. He'd always give all his friends rides everywhere, from school and all that kind of stuff. Stu's younger brother, Dana, was learning to play the guitar, and his older brother, Stu, played, and that he was happy to help him learn, and that's why they were bringing the guitar out there. They just wanted
They were
to
gonna
practice
start a
and have
band,
fun.
a boy
They're
band.
a boy band. The 70s boy bands, like the Beatles, but younger.
Maybe they were going to be the next Bee Gees.
Ooh.
They're going to learn the harmonies and stuff.
Hot. They pull out their guitar and they start a campfire and they gather around to enjoy the night. So everyone's happy, having fun. The friends light the joint, begin passing it around, and Roger puts his arm around Sandra and kisses her. So the night's all happy. It'd be a little weird to be the only girl. I don't know. I'd be uncomfortable, but it's a great night, and they've been hanging out for like half an hour when they start hearing snapping twigs, like someone walking through the woods near them.
Bigfoot?
No, I'm sure they wish it had been Bigfoot.
Ah, damn it.
They probably would have gotten off better. But Roger starts calling out, like, who's there? But when no one answers, Roger kisses Sandra. He's like, you know what? I'll be right back. I'm going to go see what the noises are.
And we all know from watching Scream, you never say, I'll be right back.
That's right. Never say that. As soon as he stands up, a shot rang out. And Roger falls to the ground. Mike reacts quickly and he shoves Sandra down behind a tree as more shots crack out around them.
That was very sweet, by the way. Okay.
I know, wasn't
That he
it?
protected her. Mhm.
Like super fast. And Stuart starts screaming in pain, yelling that he's been shot and he's bleeding.
God.
Then these three men step out of the woods, a tall, skinny guy, a heavyset one, and another shorter than the other two. And they tell the kids, put your hands up. And we're narcotics officers. We're arresting you for your marijuana possession. Like,
But we shot you first?
exactly. Well, and the teens are like, they've never been in trouble before. They don't know what
Shoot first,
to think.
ask questions later?
Right.
I don't think so.
Like, Jesus Christ, they're really serious about these drug enforcements.
It's just $2.
It was just a mini joint. Mike had been shot through the hand at some point. So
Oh.
he's upset. He's like, and he's asking them, what the hell is happening? Who are you? You know, and kind of talking back to him a little bit. The tall, thin man called himself the boss.
Yeah, police officers don't call themselves the boss.
They don't. Exactly. And the others with him just referred to him as boss. So there's something weird there. Stu had been shot, but he was able to stand while Roger still lay motionless where he had fallen.
Oh, God.
So the men marched the kids back up the trail towards the parking lot, telling them they're going to take them to jail. You guys are in trouble. Can't believe we found you with this. You're going to jail.
Again, really severe.
Wow. Overreaction. Woo. Yeah, they're really excited about their job. So when the group of them arrive at the parking lot, there's a truck parked next to Stu's van that hadn't been there before. One of the men put Sandra in the truck, and she was told the boys were going in the van. So they're kind of separating them.
They're going to take them to the police station in their own car?
They're right.
Okay.
So many things that, you know,
All
I guess
of this
as
sounds completely valid.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
As now with TV and stuff, we know to question, but possibly they did not at the time. So
Oh, no. When I was 13, I would have just shut my mouth and been like,
I know I'm in trouble. I'll do what I have to do. Right. The boss drove off with Sandra. And as they're driving away, she could see Stu, Dana, and Mike standing there confused in the parking lot, like, what the hell's happening? And as the boss drives her all around, Sandra loses a sense of where they are. Like, he's going all around different state parks and she can't tell where they are. And the boss explains that the boys will be fine. He says, we weren't shooting bullets. The guns were tranquilizer guns. Again, yeah. So he's like, no, Roger's fine. He's just knocked out because that shot worked. But when we shot Stu, the gun had misfired and didn't properly inject him. So that's why he's in pain. You know, it didn't inject. Something misfired. So
Wow.
Sandra's like, okay, you know, totally. Yeah, that's believable.
yeah, I don't
No, but
I don't think so.
again, you know, misinformation out there. But the boss told Sandra, okay, you need to stay calm and follow my directions. And if you do, I'll try to help you out of the trouble you're in, because you're in a lot of trouble right now. She's like,
my God.
okay. So she's scared to death, thinking,
Yeah,
I'm in so much trouble. Everybody's going to get charged. We're all going to jail, all this kind
right.
of stuff.
For the $2 doobie.
Joint.
Okay. Right.
By now, it had been about 3 hours since they started driving. And the boss told her, well,
They drove for 3 hours?
I'm not sure what was going on during that time. And it's not like they had cell phones to talk to each other. So,
Well, yeah. Oh, my
but
God.
they must have planned something out. So it had been 3 hours. Since they started driving, and the boss told her it's time to meet up with the other agents. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they pull up to a dilapidated farmhouse with broken windows.
Dear God.
Yeah, another not so great place in the middle of the night. Ugh, creepy. So they pull up, and the other two men are there, and so is Stu's van, but she doesn't see the other boys anywhere.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be so scary.
Oh, my God.
Ooh, so the boss tells her to stay in the truck. I'm going to go talk to the other two, you know. So after a bit, the heavyset guy comes over to the truck. He opens the door and pushes Sandra down into the truck cab and rapes her.
Mm.
After he's done, he doesn't say a word. He leaves her in the truck, and the boss gets back in, tells her, say nothing or you'll be killed. I'm going to take you home. Right? I know that. What? Okay. I'm not saying anything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He takes her home and drops her off.
Wait,
Yeah.
did she tell him where she lived? Like, how did he know?
Apparently. I'm guessing she told him that, or maybe Sioux Falls isn't that huge, but
Right,
she
okay.
didn't know who they were. So
Right.
She probably told them where she lived.
They drove her home?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if she thought, okay, this is how women get treated when they're arrested or...
This is bizarre.
Pretty sad. The next morning, November 18th, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, the weather is mild and beautiful, and a couple decided to go take a drive through Gitche Manitou State Park. So they're driving when they see something on the side of the road. They pull over to see what it is, and they see 3 people laying in the grass off the side of the road.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So the man gets out of the car to take a closer look, and when he does, he sees blood and no movement from the people. And so they get out. They get the hell out of there and go call the cops. They're like, shit. So the police arrive at Gitche Manitou Park, which is a wildlife area with woods and prairie lands. Immediately upon getting there, they see the scene and they're like, okay, we need to call in the FBI. So they did.
This is bad.
Yeah, this is bad. So by the time the agents arrive to the area, it's beginning to get dark since it's already freaking mid-November and it gets dark at like 4. The 3 victims they found were teen boys that looked to have been shot by shotguns at close range.
Not tranquilizers.
Not tranquilizers.
Just checking.
Yep. Nope. They weren't asleep. The holes in their bodies were around 3 inches in diameter. Whoa. So that's how they knew they were super close up when they got shot, and there was a sizable amount of blood present.
Oh, damn.
One of the bodies had also been shot through the hand.
This sounds familiar. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So looking around further, the detectives found drag marks in the grass. And when they followed the drag marks, it led across a parking lot. So it seemed the teens had been dragged into the grassy area so that they wouldn't be so immediately visible. But apparently they were. It's hard to tell at night.
Well, yeah.
Dragging bodies around, but.
This is why you always do it during the daylight. Just
that's right.
Tip.
Yeah. Follow us for more tips on how to murder.
Follow us for more tips.
So police decide to expand their search area, and they come across a 4th body, which was farther into the wooded area near a campsite. And at the campsite, they found an abandoned guitar. The separation of the bodies like totally perplexed the authorities. They're like, why are some over here and this guy's over here? They couldn't figure out how they'd even gotten there because there's no cars in the parking lot.
Oh, right. That's right.
So they're just like,
they're trying to figure out how the guitar fits in.
Yeah.
Did this guy pull out his guitar, started playing? They're like, this is awful. So the 3 guys got up and walked away. I don't know. Like,
right.
Questions.
You suck. I'm done.
This is awful. We are leaving.
Yes. So obviously that they knew they'd been killed there, but that's kind of the only clue they had. But in their search, they collected several spent shotgun shells from the campsite and parking lot areas. The shells were 12 gauge, 20 gauge, and 16 gauge, pointing to 3 different weapons and possibly 3 different killers. Yeah.
Did they find the rest of the doobie?
They probably did, and they were smoking it while they're searching because they're like, damn, this is heavy. Shit. I need to lighten up a little, yeah. Or probably not because it was so little. Probably got
they
lost.
Couldn't find it.
It's just a single tiny doobie. So the victims were identified with IDs they had on them. The 3 that were found close to one another were Mike, Stu, and Dana. Roger was the one found near the campsite. He was the first one shot. Police found out a bit more when they went to inform the families of the bad news. So,
oh, God.
I would not want to have to do that.
Oh, my God, no. But they went out the night before, right? So this was just the next day.
This is the next day.
So they kind of already realized that their sons didn't come home.
Didn't come home, right. And one son was spending the night with another of those kids and stuff like that. So they're teens, they do a lot on their own. So I don't know if they were very concerned at that point.
Right.
But when they did talk to the families, they heard about how good the kids are with no behavior problems. They're all good at school, great students. And then they heard that the kids had taken a blue van on their outing, but it wasn't at the crime scene. Okay. So police put out the all points bulletin for the van, hoping they'd quickly get a hit so that they could at least figure out, one more step. And they began canvassing the entire area looking for the van. Meanwhile, the crime lab collected all the evidence and the bodies were sent to autopsy. But without any immediate leads, police weren't sure how to move forward. They're just like, this is just bizarre. It's almost like coming across an alien scene or something. How did this happen?
The girl went home. Did she not tell anybody?
Well, Not at first. So until Sandra Chesky walked into the police station with her doozy of a story, they had nothing. But she initially came to the station to ask if her friends were being held there. Like, she still
thought that was the police?
Yes. Isn't that sad?
Girl. Oh.
So she told him, I was taken by narcotics agents and I was returned home.
She seriously thought a narcotics agent raped her? Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah. And when she tried to call her friends, she did try to call her friends the morning after the event, but none of them were home. And that was before the bodies were found. So she had called all their houses and everyone was like, no, they're not home yet, honey, and she didn't tell the families right away because she didn't want to get them in trouble,
Right. Oh my God.
So this is before the bodies had been discovered when she goes in. And the police had to tell Sandra that all the boys were dead.
Oh my God.
She had no idea.
Oh my God.
So not knowing where the killers were, police were worried about Sandra's safety. So they actually put her into protective custody right away.
God. Good call. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, these guys know where she lives.
Oh my God.
So
that's
freaky.
Right.
I know.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So police are confused as to why they would leave behind a witness who could recognize them.
I had that same thought.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe it's because she's a girl and they felt bad. I don't know, but
maybe because they realized how completely and totally naive she was that they were like,
she's not going to tell anyone. She's too afraid.
But she'd recognize them.
Totally. It's mind-boggling.
Right? I mean, especially after what happened to her in the van.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that guy's face is etched into her mind, right? So this is very
She'll
weird.
never
Okay.
forget that.
No.
Pretty sure she'd probably been a virgin before that too, which is
Oh,
worse.
God. Oh,
I know.
God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay.
So by Monday, November 19th, the story's all over the news, and friends of the boys are shocked and horrified. Like the whole high school, all their friends in the neighborhood. It's like, what the hell happened? These guys are such good kids. So 3 killers are on the loose, and the community is pushing police to find the murderers before they kill again. And Sandra, she sat down with a police sketch artist, and she's able to have them create sketches of the men, the truck, and even the farmhouse where she's
Oh,
staying.
yeah. I'm sure all of that is burned into her mind.
Yeah. So she sat down with them and did all that. I mean, brave freaking little girl.
Yeah, seriously.
So late that same afternoon, police find Stu's blue van.
Oh.
Yes, exciting. So it had been parked in a truck lot in Sioux Falls instead of back in Iowa. So that's kind of a clue that, okay, these guys probably live around here too.
Here. Yeah, yeah.
So it's processed for fingerprints and evidence, but nothing's found.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know, their technology is not the same as it is now. So not much they could get. Sandra's sketches were distributed to all the deputies and a grid search was started for the farm.
I thought you said a Grinch search. I was like,
yes,
what's a Grinch?
let's find
search?
the Grinch.
Find the Grinch. How is he tied in?
Goddamn Grinches.
This is getting crazy. Grid search. Big difference.
Grid. And so everyone was given a different area to go search, and it's a huge expanse because there's wild prairies and all this kind of stuff. So cops are coming. No, not coming. They're combing the area day and night. Yeah. please don't come. Looking for the truck and the farm. And Sandra was determined to help. So she worked right along with them on a daily basis.
Oh, my God.
Working nearly as long. She would ride in a cop car every day, driving around, desperately looking for something that looked familiar.
Jeez.
They took her to farms that resembled her sketches, but none of them were the one. They drove for days, and their hopes of finding anything were getting less and less as the hours carried on.
Jeez. Okay.
But on November 29th, after Thanksgiving, Sandra once again steps into a police car with a deputy and an FBI agent to go hunting for the killers. And as they drove down a lane, Sandra recognized the area. It was the farm she'd been raped at.
Oh, my God.
So the cruiser pulls up to the abandoned farmhouse, and the trio gets out. She's with the FBI agent and the deputy, and Sandra's like, this is it. I know this is the place. And so the investigators are like, okay, who do we call to get permission to check out this house? And they're looking around kind of, and right then a pickup truck drives down the lane past the farmhouse. Sandra screams, and she's like, that's the truck, that's the truck. And she got a clear look of the guy, and God. It is the boss driving the truck.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
So the deputy's like, boom, jumps in the car, goes after the truck, and gets him. Like, he leaves Sandra and the FBI behind.
They're just standing there in the driveway going, he's coming back, right?
Is he coming back for us? He was like, fuck that, I'm getting this guy.
Oh, good. But
So the man is pulled over and taken in.
oh my God, I have chills.
I know. Amazing that this little girl would go through all that too.
Damn. She is amazing.
She is so cool. She is amazing. The shit she'd been through. Okay,
Wow.
so there are these 3 brothers with the last name of Fryer. These boys are very much country bumpkins. All the stereotypes you could imagine. The brothers were 3 in a total of 13 kids born to Lyle
Whoa.
and Mildred Fryer, who were farmers.
Lyle and Mildred, those are, I'm totally picturing that. What is it? That American Gothic?
That's funny you said. Okay, so my grandparents were Lyle and Mildred. No.
What?
But it wasn't these guys. So yeah, my grandpa that I never met, my dad's dad was Lyle, but he died when he was like 45. So my grandma's name was Mildred, but she went by
Get out.
Betty because her middle name was Elizabeth. So she went by Betty. But,
Okay, good. Because I was like, I don't get how that's a nickname for Mildred.
yeah, so just kind
I
of
don't
funny.
see that.
I know. Yeah. So
What?
anyway, so they were Lyle and Mildred, but
Out.
I know when I read that, I was like, no,
They
it's
had-
not my family.
13.
13
kids.
kids. 13.
I'm
A little
tired
too many.
just thinking about that.
Ugh.
Like exhausted.
Poor
Just
Mildred. Oof.
Jesus.
And they're farmers. They didn't own their own farmland, but they would lease it and then farm it, which is even
Okay.
worse because then you don't have, you're basically sharecroppers.
Yeah.
So that's hard. So Lyle, the kid's father, was cold, controlling, and strict. Just what you want in a dad.
Right. He sounds fantastic.
He's great. He's often seen reprimanding his boys, and people were struck by how he would never refer to his boys as his sons. He just called them chore boys. These are my chore boys.
Wow. So he basically just reproduced his own farmhands?
Yep. Free labor. These are my slaves.
Jesus. Okay.
So there is never love, compassion, or caring. Karen wasn't in the family.
No, there's no Karen. Well, there were 13 of them.
There
There could have
probably
been a
was.
Karen
There's
in there
a good
somewhere.
chance there is. But there was no caring showed
Oh, okay.
by anyone in the family. Mother, dad, nobody. It was bad.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Sounds great.
So Alan Fryer, the older of this group of 3 kids,
Oh, okay.
liked to make up stories as a child and pretend to be someone he wasn't. Probably
Can't imagine why.
survival tactic. Yeah.
What's like?
Survival. Got to survive
Wow.
this life. So
Right.
he was outgoing and bossy, and his younger brothers look up to him as their leader. David Fryer, he's about 5 years younger than Alan. He's sullen, quiet, always seemed to be on the verge of rage. Eesh.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Just gets better. James Fryer, the youngest of the trio, grew up as a violent kid from the get-go.
Jesus.
Yeah. At just 9 years old, he stole a car.
Holy crap.
9 years old? How do you even reach the pedals?
On purpose? I mean, I know kids that put the car out of
Accidentally.
park, but
No. He went and
yeah,
stole
how
a car.
did he reach the pedals?
I don't know.
Okay.
So he turned his lack of love from his parents and his life into anger and hatred of other people. Fun.
Much like the Grinch.
Yes, maybe we are looking for the Grinch, and we found him.
And full circle.
Yeah, when he was 16, police got calls that someone was driving around shooting at people out of the window with a shotgun.
Wow.
Out of his car
Again.
window.
If the Grinch had access to ammo, I could
Oh.
see that could have.
Absolutely. It'd been like, people suck. James was caught and arrested at the time. That was when he was just 16.
He's 16.
So these 3 brothers were close and always depended on one another from the time they were little.
For bail?
Everything. It's not like they're getting anything from their parents, that's for sure. The 3 would often feed off of each other's behavior and seemed to always try to one-up at one another with the risks they would take.
Jesus. Okay.
And they all loved to hunt together. And in the evenings, even as adults, they would go hunting at night, often poaching game out of season. So most people are like, we're just going to look the other way. They probably are just trying to put meat on the table because they have a lot of people to feed.
Yeah, that's it. They're looking for squirrels.
Yeah. But a lot of other people are like, no, these guys like to kill. They're that type of people. So the man Sandra recognized as the boss was Alan Fryer, who was 29 at the time. Alan was taken into custody after Sandra saw him in the truck. And the next step was to get Alan to tell them who else was with him the night of the murders.
Was he still living at home? He was 29
I don't
and he's
think
still
so.
a farmhand?
And they never said that. He was a farmhand for another farmer for a while too, but I think they just kind of took
He just didn't
jobs here and there. And
go very far from
I don't think he was very educated or anything.
Okay.
Alan was taken into custody, and the next step was to get him to tell who was with him. And Alan began the interrogation by claiming he'd never been to Gitche Manitou, but eventually his story began to change. Alan's like, okay. I was at Gitche with two of my brothers, but it was the teens that started shooting at us, not the other way around.
The teens. The
kids.
teens that were...
Mm-hmm. We're playing a guitar with the doobie.
The teens that have the wounds. The bullet wounds.
Yeah, they are doing all the shooting.
Did the shooting.
Okay, right. When it was clear the police had more info than he realized, he's like, okay. That's wrong. So I didn't shoot anyone, but my brothers David and James did.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So police go and get David. He's brought in, and they find James is already in jail. So
how convenient.
Perfect. So in fact, James was supposed to have been in jail during the killings, which would have totally given him an airtight alibi.
Jesus.
But he had been let out that fateful Saturday on a work release. Work release? What?
Are you serious?
Oh, be sure to come back now, you hear? So police put together a lineup for Sandra, and she quickly picks the three men out. Easy.
Yeah, right?
She pointed James out as the piece of shit that raped her.
He was the youngest, right?
He's the youngest and heavyset guy.
And he was the one that should have been in jail that night anyway.
Right.
Because work release, he had something to do in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So during the interrogation with David, he says, I didn't shoot anyone, but my brothers did. And James said, no, I wasn't at Gitche. I was in jail. So the cops show him the jail records with his signature where he checked himself out on the day of the murders and then checked himself back in at 5 the next morning.
Like a library book.
Like a library book. You can check yourself out of jail.
Right. But I'm going to go to work, so it's cool. From 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
So he obviously had time to be involved in it. So when he realizes the police know the truth about that, he's like, well, I didn't shoot anyone, but my brothers did. So
oh my God. It's like Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yes. They all three turned on each other. But during each of the interviews, the brothers did give enough details that investigators were able to piece together what actually happened. So the Fryer brothers had gotten together the evening of the murders to go deer hunting, and that's why they were at Gitche Manitou.
Uh-huh.
In Iowa. They started by hunting, but weren't having any luck. So they're all getting annoyed and growing more aggressive, feeding off of one another's anger.
Right.
And then they come across the group of teens. David crawled up to watch them.
Creepy.
It's so creepy. So that's probably when they first heard the twigs snapping and stuff. So then he returns to his brothers saying, they've got some pot. Yeah, not a lot of pot, dude. Not a lot. So.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So Alan's like, well, shit, let's go take it. They sneak up to an area overlooking the camp. And David said he could tell from the look on Alan's face that he was going to shoot the kids. So instead of trying to prevent it or doing anything, they're like, okay, so Alan shot Roger.
Because of a tiny $2 doobie?
That's what they claim, but they just wanted to kill people.
Yeah.
He shoots Robert, and once the first shot's made, there's no other choice in the other men's minds
yeah.
but to back their brother. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. The shit's hit the fan.
Shit, we better shoot everybody.
We can't turn around now. There's no...
Even though they hadn't seen him or anything, they could have just...
Oops, sorry.
Left. Yeah, whoops. I'm a better shot than I thought. So David shot at Stu, who fell down and was badly injured. Alan, the boss, declared they were officers and that they'd be taking the kids to jail.
Oh, my God.
Mike and Sandra came out of the trees with their hands up because they believed him. And Alan shot Mike in the hand. So that's how he had gotten shot.
Gotcha. Okay.
When Alan drove off with Sandra in the truck, David and James had rounded up the boys, started the van, and shined the lights onto them. who stood there in the parking lot. Then James jumped out of the van and started shooting, ultimately killing him.
Wait, hold on. Someone rounded up the boys. Wait.
Yes.
Go back.
James jumped out of the van, started shooting, ultimately killing all the boys. So they kind of left Roger where they had killed him, and then they dragged the other boys out of the parking lot so it wouldn't be so obvious if somebody pulled into the parking lot. But I'm guessing because it was nighttime, they couldn't tell that, well, you can see him from the road. So
Right. And this, again, is why you move your bodies
during the daytime.
During the daytime, right. Okay.
When there's light. Sufficient lighting. So David chose to plead guilty to avoid a jury trial, but James and Alan pled not guilty so they would go to a full trial.
Really? Especially when one of them has already pled? I mean...
Maybe they were hoping, let's pin it all on David. I don't know. What brotherly love.
Oh, my God.
So 3 months after the murders, David was tried first since he pled guilty. So the court heard the evidence and convicted him of first-degree murder, which carries a mandatory life sentence in South Dakota. And he's shipped off to prison while the other two brothers await their trials.
Good. Sorry.
Yes. So one of them's gone. Alan was tried next, and Sandra had to testify in that trial because...
She was the witness?
Yep. Law requires that the defendant confront the witnesses testifying against them.
She's 13, and she's been through...
I know.
So much.
But she was so amazing. She wanted to.
Good for her.
Yeah, she was a tough little shit. I love her. So Sandra, the young teen girl, took the stand, looked him straight in the eye, and told everything. And her resolve was so impressive. She was not going to allow them to get away with anything. She was like, I will tell you everything you want to hear, pieces of shit. And she looked him in the eye.
Damn. Good for her.
I know. She was, she gives me chills.
Good for her.
After only about 5 hours of deliberation, the jury found Alan guilty of first-degree murder, and he, too, was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
Did they come up with anything for why he drove them around for 3 hours?
No. You know,
just to have the other brother
rape
assault her. I don't understand.
I don't either. They must have had before talked about doing something like that and said, if we ever do something like this, this is our meetup spot. That's all I could come up with in my mind. But
yeah, it's just really weird.
It's really weird. And I wonder if their farm, their parents' farm or whatever is close to that dilapidated farmhouse they took her to. But
okay.
Let's see. So on June 20th, 1974, before Alan is transported to a maximum security prison, he's being held along with his brother in a county jail. Alan takes a piece of metal wire from his bed in his cell. He shapes it into a wrench and is able to loosen the bolts in his cell door.
No. What?
He loosened them. Nobody's sitting down there with him.
What?
So he gets loose and he gets the keys to all the cells, and he lets his brother out as well.
Get the fuck out of here.
I know. Apparently, these holding cells were in the basement of, like, the police building,
okay.
And nobody's down there during this time, and I think it's the weekend or something, and they actually sneak upstairs and sneak out.
Come on.
I know. So they get out.
What?
They didn't figure it out till the next morning. So they had a full night.
No one checked.
They had a full night.
Wow. Mm-hmm. They had a full night's head start. Son of a bitch. Oh, my God.
It's like,
Sandra must have been freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, the manhunt begins. Sandra's terrified. So, once again, she's put into protective custody, and they actually put armed guards at her house. They're not taking any chances.
It's too bad they didn't do that with the guys when they were in jail.
For sure.
Or, just anybody. Just... anyone at all.
I know.
Put a dog down there. Anything.
Something. It just boggles me. It's like watching those old 1950s shows where like they had the one cell there or something. I don't know. But so they're looking for him. And fortunately, the following morning, the men are actually stopped at a roadblock in Gillette, Wyoming, and taken back into custody. So it was like they had put up roadblocks along all these interstates. And
shit. So wait, and this was in which Dakota? South Dakota. So they actually made it. They made it to a different state.
Yeah, it's actually South Dakota's really close to Wyoming. It's only about even for us in Colorado, it's only about a 3 to 4 hour drive because it's corners.
All right there, yeah. But still, they made it to another state.
They made, and Gillette's pretty far up there. It's pretty far north. So Anyway, they did catch him. So finally, David's trial takes place. And he too is found guilty and sentenced to life without parole.
Good.
But if Sandra hadn't come forward and had the courage she did, like, she could have been like, shit, these guys, you know, I could be in so much trouble. These guys could come kill me.
Yeah.
But they would have probably gotten away with it. Or if she had been killed too.
She's a fucking rock star.
She's fucking amazing. So Sandra became the hero to so many people because she was relentless. She refused to give up on trying to find justice for her friends. And watching her in an interview was really cool. The writer of this one book about the Gitchy, okay, here's a sad detail. She was called the Gitchy Girl for many, many, many years.
That's a horrible nickname.
Isn't that
for such
terrible?
an awesome person. That's
I
just
know.
terrible.
So it was rough on her, you know, to be the lone survivor.
Oh, God, yeah.
She went through a lot, but one of the guy's good friends from when he was little became a writer, and they actually wrote a book together to get the full story out there. So that's where a lot of this info comes from.
Okay, that's good.
She was amazing. Amazing. It was sad. She still says that Roger was like, you know, she was
Her true
teen
love.
love. Yeah, teen love. So
Oh,
cute.
it would have fizzled out really fast, but
I know, but at the time,
right.
especially when you're a kid, it feels so much more intense. So that's the story of the Gitchy Girl in Manitou Springs. I know.
Holy cow, that's a fantastic story.
Isn't that crazy? So thank you to Melinda for
Yeah.
telling me about that one.
I'm still dumbfounded that these country bumpkin guys MacGyvered their way out of a jail cell. How did that happen?
No. I guess working with all those farm tools they were used to having to repair
hell?
things. So they
That's
should have become
insane.
mechanics or done something better with their lives, but
God. That's damn. I'm
Sad.
impressed.
that was impressive. But they didn't get very far, so that was not impressive. I don't know if they stole a car. There was no details that I could find about it.
That's interesting. Yeah. But they didn't figure out how to get out of a roadblock, so
So they weren't that smart. They didn't get up to Canada. They should have probably just gone north.
yeah. Yeah.
Just go to Canada
All
or Mexico.
that for a $2 cheap doobie.
All right.
Damn.
So
Damn.
that was my chance to use Doobie.
I love it. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
So
That
glad
was
we
a
got
great
to use a
story.
Doobie. Thank you.
I'm so
All right.
glad we got to use a doobie. Don't take that out of context.
Yeah, I know. Although all my friends here would be like, yeah. Too bad I'm allergic. It's not fair.
To doobies?
To marijuana, yeah. Isn't
I
that
didn't
sad?
know that was a thing.
It's a type of weed that I'm allergic to almost every type of
God.
freaking, you know me, you remember all the fun
Oh, Jesus. No, I do. I
of all the things.
You'd live in your bubble in your room.
I know,
Like,
it was so bad.
it was like you were like boy in the bubble, but
I was. It was terrible.
God.
It was so bad.
Yeah, seriously.
Luckily, it's not as bad as it used to be. But yeah, I keep trying little bits of marijuana thinking, okay, I can do it now because I have a friend that makes amazing edibles for people.
You can
My sinuses instantly start hurting. I'm like, God damn it. I don't want to be allergic to this.
Oh,
It's so
that
good for people with depression and
sucks.
anxiety. But
maybe that's why I'm so like it doesn't faze me that my husband has such horrible like allergies to all like weeds
Yeah,
and
I
pollen
prepared
and all
you.
that because I'm just like, okay. And then I had the cat that was allergic to all the shit. And then
that's right.
I was
surrounded.
like, okay, cool.
Yep. I just was preparing you for your life of
Thanks. Thank you.
allergenic surroundings.
That was nice of you.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm better now. All right. So would you like to hear my source?
I would love to hear your sources.
Wikipedia, Oxygen.com, Murderpedia, ArgusLeader.com, HuffPost.com, Kiloland.com, and the show Killer Siblings, Season 2, Episode 2 on Oxygen. Yeah. Actually, I had to rent it to watch.
And your friend from
Yes.
your friend.
Yes,
What was it,
Melinda.
Melanie?
Melinda.
I knew it was
Yes.
Melanie.
So thank you for that source. Now
Yeah,
we'll have
seriously.
to find
that
more.
was a good one.
It's a good story.
It was a good one. All right. Yay!
Hey, well, thank you everyone for joining us again.
Thank you for another fun-filled episode of ODFM.
This time with
bunch of-
doobies.
Just a doobie. Right, exactly. Sounds like cereal where you get like a prize.
This time with doobies.
Right. Thank you, everybody.
Next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Hey Oddies, thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM. If you're a longtime listener, hey, we cannot thank you enough for your continued support. And if you're a new listener, thanks for giving us a try. If you like us, please drop us a like, subscribe, or rate us so we can share our stories with more people around the world. And if you'd like more information, like links to our podcast and socials, along with our Patreon fan page, those links are all on Linktree under ODFM Podcast. That's linktr.ee/ODFM Podcast. Side note, you guys, we're obsessed with fan art, and we love making things with it, like stickers for our fans. So if you'd like us to use your designs, send it to us at odfmpodcast@gmail.com. And if we use your design, we'll be sure to send you a sticker.
Thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM, hosted by Kelly DeVries and Jenna Swanson. Production and editing by Kelly DeVries. Theme music by Eric Swanson. ODFM is a satirical true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only. The stories you hear are serious and true. The comments and opinions are not. We apologize if any of our content is harmful or disrespectful.
Sam Fender returns with his brilliant new album, 17 Going Under. Includes the single 17 Going Under, Get You Down, and Spit of You. Sam Fender, 17 Going Under, out now.